Welcome back. I hope you managed to get here. Now, we need lots of fields for this form, but we have this icon here that we actually don't need. We saw the Boolean text property for the text, obviously, but let's apply it here as well. Inside the main component, please select the GPS icon. Notice this is a copy. The original one is above it. We won't touch that one. Okay, focus on layer once again. This is what we're looking for. Apply Boolean property. Why doesn't it say create? Because we already have one for the label. But no worries, we're gonna click here to make a new one. Call it show icon, though the name really doesn't matter. As for the default, we're gonna change it to false, and that's because most fields won't have an icon. Okay, let's go back to screen number 1 and check it out. Turn on the icon and we're pretty good. Notice there's a slight issue and I don't want to waste time on it. Now in the main component, the hint is now centered and that's not good. So here's what's what. Now we have to change the following thing. Select the auto layout frame for the field, this one here, and change its setting to packed. So this will of course affect screen number 1, the copy from screen number 1. The GPS icon will be too close to the hint, right? So that's no good. Here I went too fast and I selected the instance field. Notice the layers panel. This is a mistake. I can still change it to space between, but it's not what we want. So use Ctrl Z and select the auto layout from inside the instance. That's what we want. Okay, now it's time to add loads of fields. So drag the first one and center it horizontally. Place it about 40 pixels from the yellow bar, give or take of course. Okay, the first field should be called full name. Replace that label and I think we need to do the same thing for the hint. This can say John Doe or Christian Baron, whatever you want, your name, whatever. Hit escape and we're done with it. We're gonna have quite a lot of fields and this one doesn't need to be this wide. So here's what I propose. Select the instance, this one here. This should be set to fixed right here, so we're gonna get access to the width. Divide this by 2 by adding /2 in this field, and that's 328. Now the thing is, we also need an empty space between the fields, so let's remove 20, so that's 308. Now you could add -20 in the field or just type in 308. Now you might be surprised to see that this field is not changing, and that's because we have the auto layout inside this instance. So the instance itself is narrower. You can see the purple highlight right here. Now we have to select the auto layout, this one here, and instead of fixed, we're gonna need to change it to fill container. Now you may ask, Chris, why fill container? Well, the instance is the container, the blue highlight, remember? So we're saying, hey, this field needs to be as wide as the instance. If the instance, the clone, is 308, then so should the field, right? Now, if the instance gets wider, follow that value. The only other option is hug contents, and that simply means, hey Figma, make the field as wide as the content itself. And the content in this case is Christian Baron. That wouldn't make sense in this specific situation, so obviously we're not gonna use it. Okay, let's make another copy and place it on the right. The label should say city. As for the hint, let's go with something basic like select city. Or select a city, I think it's select city. Okay, now this means we're gonna need a drop down. We already have one in screen number 2 next to San Francisco. So select it and move it to the resources frame. Then let's make it into a component. Please take your time with it. When you're ready, drag a copy back to San Francisco. Now, since it's quite small, you may want to use the assets panel for that. Whatever works best for you. Okay. When you're ready, let's think about it. Go back to the city field and enable an icon. With the frame selected, you will have to change the spacing. From packed, choose space between. But right now we only have an on or an off option for the icon, and basically that's not good enough. So we need to be able to swap out these icons to change them out. Well, luckily we can do that in Figma. So go back to the main component. The easiest way to work is to use the layers panel and find the GPS icon. Here it's slightly grayed out. Okay, now move your focus here on the right side. Here we have another symbol right in this position next to where it says GPS. Click it and we're gonna have an instance swap. An instance swap simply means that we can change the icon. If we deselect it and then select the master component, you should have 3 properties in total. So that's show or hide the label, swap the icon, this one here, and finally show or hide the icon. Let's go back to select a city. The 2 toggles are here, and in between them we get this drop down. So we only have 2 icon components in this project, so click here and you should find that arrow quite fast. It's as easy as that. But here's the thing, the difference in size breaks the icon, and that's no good. But we do have an easy fix. So go back to the main component, the arrow, and then we're gonna use an auto layout, Shift A. Now the size is totally fine. Now I don't want to bore you with various explanations, but remember this. If your icons have a different size and you want to be able to swap them around, simply use Shift A in the resources frame on the master component. So let's recap. So in the field component, we selected the GPS icon and we used the feature called instance swap property. Once that's applied, we can go to a clone, so an instance, and we can switch up the icons based on what components we have available in this project. In our case, there's only 2 icons, so obviously that's quite easy. Now, in case the icon doesn't fit, we need to use Shift A on the original icon, aka the main or master component. Okay, let's continue.